So today, we're going to do a forensic breakdown of one of the most calculated and, well, cruel systems of deception that's out there online. We're talking about a crime that costs victims hundreds of millions of dollars. But you know what? This isn't just about losing money. It's about how respect, empathy, and patriotism are weaponized. We're going to deconstruct this scam piece by piece so you can understand the system, recognize its attack pattern, and know the absolute protocol to defend against it. In that line, it really gets to the core of why this is so awful. The criminal isn't just after your bank account. They're targeting the very best parts of who you are: your compassion, your loyalty, your desire to support those who serve. And they turn all of that into leverage for theft. It's a profound violation that leaves people feeling betrayed by their own virtues. Okay, here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at the core vulnerability, something I'm calling the patriotism paradox. Then, we'll dissect the scam's playbook and anatomy of a lie. After that, we'll explore the triggers in the psychological choke point. From there, we pivot to defense, identifying the system's red flags, learning the absolute defense protocol, and finally, arming you with a protective mantra. So let's start with the central conflict that really fuels this entire system. It's the deep, genuine admiration that we all have for military personnel. And that admiration, that's the primary vulnerability these criminals exploit. Service members are held in high esteem, and for good reason. We see them as disciplined, trustworthy. Scammers know this, they count on it, and they figured out how to turn our respect into their weapon.
So here's how they lay the groundwork emotionally. The whole system thrives in that space between loneliness and the anonymity of the internet. The scammer builds a character, a heroic, yet somehow vulnerable fantasy figure, often a widower, sacrificing everything for their country. This high-stakes emotional story is specifically designed to trigger your sense of patriotism, to trigger your compassion, and to shut down that part of your brain that would normally say, hey, wait a minute, I should check this out.
So that's the big question, right? How on earth can a total stranger gain so much trust so fast? Well, the answer isn't magic. It's a methodical, repeatable process. It is a system, and it's engineered with very specific stages and psychological triggers. Let's break down exactly how they build that system.
Okay, so let's get into the anatomy of the lie itself. And you have to understand, this scam isn't random or improvised. It follows a predictable, multi-stage attack flow. It's a system that has been refined over thousands and thousands of interactions, and it's engineered for one single purpose: getting your money. It's a four-step playbook, really. It starts with fabrication and grooming. This is where they build the fantasy persona, using stolen photos and intense emotional bonding, sometimes called love bombing. Second is isolation enforcement. They move you to private apps, demand secrecy, and cut you off from your support system. Then comes the manufactured military crisis. This is when the trap is sprung. And finally, financial extraction. And this is the crucial moment where the whole military context becomes the perfect weapon. I'm deployed, my mission is classified. These are the perfect, plausible-sounding excuses for why they can never have a video call, the one thing that would instantly expose the whole lie. This single tactic makes all the other lies possible. And here's where the manipulation flips. Up until this point, it's all been about building this intense connection of love and trust. But now that that emotional bond is established, it's about to be weaponized. The scammer manufactures a high-stakes, urgent crisis that they claim only you can solve. And this crisis will always, always involve a demand for money, cleverly disguised with official-sounding military jargon. They'll talk about emergency leave fees to come see you, customs fees for a so-called diplomatic pouch, or urgent medical expenses that the military supposedly won't cover. These are all complete fabrications, chosen because they sound just plausible enough to a civilian. So why do people fall for this? Why does it feel so intensely real to the person in the middle of it? To understand that, we have to look at the powerful psychological principles the scam is built on. This is what we're calling the psychological choke point. It's that moment where emotion is engineered to completely override logic. The first principle is something called authority bias. Think about it. We're conditioned to respect authority, right? And a military uniform with a high rank is one of the most powerful symbols of authority there is. So when a person who says they're a general gives you an instruction, your gut instinct isn't to question it. Their claimed rank creates an immediate power dynamic that just shuts down skepticism. The second principle is maybe even more powerful. It's the reciprocity heuristic. That's the social rule that says if someone does something for us, we feel like we should repay them. The scammer presents their soldier as someone sacrificing their life for your country. So when they ask for help, it's framed as your turn to do your part, to repay their huge sacrifice. Sending money is no longer just sending money. It becomes a heroic act of patriotic duty.
And this is the psychological choke point. It's the moment the demand for money finally comes. The victim is trapped in this emotional vice. On one side, you have the intense emotional bond, the fantasy of a future together. And on the other, this powerful sense of patriotic duty and the absolute fear of letting a hero down. At this moment, logic is completely overwhelmed by emotion. Okay, so we've deconstructed the system. Now let's shift from just analyzing it to defending against it. And the good news is, because this is a system, it has a predictable pattern. It has tells. And if you can recognize that pattern, you can spot the attack coming and you can neutralize it. This is where you take the power back. So here's the bottom line. The core signature of this scam is a simple three-part sequence. First, the person claims to be in the US military and they're deployed overseas. Second, there's unbreakable scarcity and secrecy. They can never ever video chat. And third, there is a demand for money for so-called official military fees. If you see those three things together, the alarm bells should be screaming.
Let's just focus on that second point for a second. Unbreakable scarcity and secrecy. The number one absolute, non-negotiable red flag is this. They are never available for a live video call. Ever. And they will have an endless supply of excuses. They'll also claim their mission is classified to justify the secrecy, and they'll forbid you from telling friends or family because they know an outside perspective would instantly blow their cover. Recognizing the pattern is your early warning system. But now you need a clear, actionable set of instructions to neutralize the threat. So think of this as your tactical briefing. This is about following a clear, proven procedure, the absolute defense protocol. This is it. This is the single most important fact you need to burn into your memory. This is the absolute rule. The United States military pays for everything its service members need for their official duties. Everything. They do not charge soldiers for emergency leave, for medical care, or for transportation. Any request for money for an official fee is, by definition, a scam. There are zero exceptions to this. So, if you suspect you're being targeted, here is your 4-step defense strategy. 1. Halt. Immediately stop all communication. Don't argue, don't explain, just stop. 2. Verify. Run their photos through a reverse image search. You will almost certainly find they belong to a real soldier whose identity has been stolen. 3. Deploy the decisive statement. And 4. Report the profile to the U.S. Army's Criminal Investigation Division, or CID. This right here is your tool to end the scam instantly. It's the decisive statement. You say, I can't send money, but I will send official help through your command's legal or casualty assistance officer. I need their contact info immediately. You see what this does? A real soldier in trouble would welcome this with open arms. A scammer will panic, they'll make excuses, they'll get angry, and then they'll vanish. You've just called their bluff by offering real help instead of cash. All right, we've covered the paradox, the anatomy of the lie, the psychology, and the defense protocol. Now we get to the final takeaway. This is the core truth, the one idea that can inoculate you against this entire system of deception. You should think of it as your protective mantra. Just let this sink in. The US military covers its soldiers. The individual asking for cash is an imposter. The lie of need, that's the whole mechanism of the theft. And by understanding that fundamental truth, you take away the scammer's entire leverage. Real heroes don't need your money to do their duty. The person asking for it is simply a criminal hiding behind a stolen uniform.